Welcome back to Screen Stories. Today, I will explain the movie PK, 2014. The movie begins with a majestic spaceship hidden between fluffy clouds hovering over the skies of Rajasthan, India. It soon comes to a stop, and from it emerges an alien that looks too human. He is wearing nothing except a glistening locket that is his spaceship's remote control. He soon meets a passerby who is bewildered to see a naked man running toward him. But when he sees the alien's shining necklace, he snatches it and runs. Upon realizing what just happened, the alien chases the man but only manages to get the thief's cassette recorder. With his ship's remote control stolen, the alien is stranded in the deserts of Rajasthan, without any knowledge of the language and without any friends. On the same day, some 5,000 kilometers away in Belgium, we are introduced to a journalism student, Jagu, who meets a Pakistani, Sarfraz Youssef. After spending time together in the streets of Belgium, she falls in love with him. One day Jaga calls her parents to tell them that she has fallen in love, but instead of being happy for their daughter, they are more concerned about their religious beliefs. They immediately visit a godman, Tapasvi Maharaj, who predicts Sarfraz will betray her. Determined to prove the prediction wrong, Jaga asks Sarfraz to marry her the next day, to which Sarfraz agrees. The following day, Jaga reaches the marriage registrar's office well before time. While waiting for Sarfraz, another bride who is also waiting for her fiancé asks Jaga to hold her cat. Jaga's hope comes crashing down when she receives an unsigned letter believing it to be from Sarfraz, stating the cultural differences as the reason he can't marry her. Jaga returns to India after getting her heart broken and starts working as a news reporter for a news channel. One day, while going to the office, she meets the alien who now calls himself PK. He is giving out flyers with pictures of various Indian gods, reporting them as missing. Jaga gets intrigued by PK's eccentric speaking style and mannerisms, and when she meets him the second time, curiosity gets the best of her and she decides to follow him. But as luck would have it, PK gets in trouble for stealing money from the donation box at a temple. Jaga saves him by convincing the people that PK was helping her. Once they get out of there, she asks PK what he was doing, and PK replies that he was taking compensation for an unfulfilled promise. Once she gets the opportunity, Jaga asks PK to tell her his story. PK tells her he is an astronaut from another planet who has come to Earth for research purposes, and narrates how his remote control was stolen. He also tells her that their planet has no concept of language or clothes. We are then taken into a flashback to when he first arrived on the planet. He was amazed at how colorful the people's skin was on Earth, but he soon realized they wore clothes. So he made his way to what he called dancing cars, the only place for lovers to express their love, and took the clothes hanging from the windows of those cars. One day, he got into an accident, and the man who hit him with his truck was Bandmaster Baron. After the doctor diagnoses PK with memory loss, Baron feels bad and decides to bring PK along with his troop until his memory returns. But he doesn't know for PK to communicate. He needs to hold hands with somebody to learn whatever the person knows, so PK tries holding random people's hands, which gets him in a lot of trouble. Baron misinterprets his behavior and takes him to a brothel where PK holds hands with an escort for 6 hours, learns everything she knows, and adopts her way of speaking, in which every sentence ends with profanity. He's finally able to communicate and tells Baron about his remote being stolen. Baron suggests the thief must have gone to Delhi to sell the precious chain. PK arrives at Delhi, but for some reason, whomever he talks to assumes he is drunk or PK, which translates to tipsy in Hindi. He later adopts PK as his name since they don't have names on his planet. The people also pity him and say only God can help him. PK is now determined to find a chap named God. After getting chased out of every religious institute because of his puerility, PK starts practicing all Indian religions, including Hinduism, Islam, Christianity, Jainism, Buddhism, and Sikhism, diligently to get his remote back but to no avail. A chain of events leads PK to Tapasvi, who is in possession of PK's remote and is displaying it to people as a gift from God. When PK asks for it, Tapasvi refuses, and PK is thrown out of the precinct. Back in the present, as he finishes telling his story, Jagu has her doubts and asks him to visit a psychiatrist. But when Jagger sees an instance of PK's mind-reading power, she finally believes him and promises to get his remote back and send him to his home. She takes PK home, and for the first time since he's been on Earth, he sleeps well. The next morning, they are discussing how to get PK's remote back when Jagger receives a call from someone who has dialed the wrong number. She gets fed up with such calls and pranks the unknown caller. This incident clears PK's doubt, who asserts that Tapasvi and other such men are dialing the wrong number and making people believe in meaningless man-made rituals. Jagga claims a man with too many logical questions to illogical things. The following day, Jagga takes PK to Tapasvi's gathering, where he is solving public grievances. She has a cameraman with him to record the conversation between PK and Tapasvi. Things go as planned, and Tapasvi has no answers to PK's logical arguments that soon start a popular mass movement called Wrong Number, where Jagu encourages people to shoot videos of fraudulent godmen so their real faces can be exposed, much to Tapasvi's chagrin. To save his reputation and teach PK a lesson, Tapasvi offers to go live on Jagu's show to debate against PK. The news is flashed all over, and in a small bar in Rajasthan, Baron cheers for his friend, but when he hears a man ranting about PK, Baron realizes he is the thief who stole PK's remote. Baron calls PK on the channel's office line and tells him he has found the thief and that the thief had sold PK's remote to Tapasvi. PK is astounded by this revelation as he realizes Tapasvi is a fraud. Jagu assures him now that he knows the truth, they can bring Tapasvi's chicanery in front of the world. Meanwhile, PK has fallen in love with Jagu, and they are celebrating PK's last night on Earth. PK is about to confess his love when Jagu is reminded of Sarfaraz, and her eyes well up. When PK holds her hands to console her, he sees her memories with Sarfaraz and decides not to say anything about his feelings. The next day, PK goes to the station to receive his friend Baron, who's bringing the thief. He is still upset about losing Jagu, but his woes don't end there, and as soon as he sees Baron get off the train, a blast shakes the railway platform. It is a terrorist attack, and Baron and the thief lose their lives in the blast. PK is appalled by what humanity has turned into and decides to go to the show to put a stop to this hatred. Soon the show starts, and Tapasvi takes a jibe at PK for opposing God. He argues that a man needs hope to survive, and if a stone statue gives them that hope, then why is PK opposing it? He questions PK what, according to him, the right number is. PK agrees that God gives a person hope and strength to face any ordeal, but he questions Tapasvi about which God to believe, because there are two gods, one who created us all, and the other who was created by people who is just like them, petty and feigned. PK says the right number is believing in the God who created us. Tapasvi tries to direct the debate onto religion, but PK stops him by reminding him of Sarfaraz and blames him for ruining Jaga's relationship with Sarfaraz by making a false prediction about Sarfaraz betraying her. Jaga tries to stop them because she doesn't want her personal life to be the subject of debate. But it is too late, and Tapasvi asks the cameras to point at Jagu. He starts interrogating Jagu about the details, and Jagu ends up yelling that Sarfaraz didn't show up at the office, implying Sarfaraz betrayed her. Having had a peek at her memories from that day after holding her hands earlier, PK points out that the letter was not signed, so how could she discern it was from Sarfaraz, making Jaga question the entire incident. He further elaborates that it could have been that the kid was asked to give the letter to the one holding a cat, and Jaga remembers another bride who had asked her to hold the cat. Tears trickle down her cheeks as she realizes what a real gaffe she has made. Just then, her boss intervenes and asks her to call Sarfaraz, but his number is no longer available. So she calls the Pakistan embassy in Belgium because Sarfaraz had mentioned he worked part-time in the embassy. As soon as the woman from the embassy picks up the call, she recognizes Jagu and tells her Sarfaraz has been calling them ever since he left Belgium and every time asks if he got any calls from Jagu, revealing he still loves her. They connect her call to Sarfaraz in Pakistan, and both Jagu and Sarfaraz talk after what feels like an eternity. Sarfaraz reveals he had come to the registrar's office, but she had gone, and instead, he found the letter, but he never lost hope that she would contact him someday. Tapasvi knows what is coming, so he tries to take away the remote, but Jaga's dad stops him and gives the remote to PK, who cries in a bittersweet moment. He feels happy he'll finally go home, but also sad because he sacrificed his love for Jaga by uniting her with her long-lost love. PK is ready to go home and travels with Jagu to the desert of Rajasthan, where he first appeared, as he is unloading his luggage, when it slips from his hands and falls open, revealing hundreds of batteries. Jagu is amazed and asks what he will do with all these batteries. PK explains he has recorded random sounds from Earth, so he'll listen to them on his planet whenever he misses Earth. Before he can take down his other trunk, the bus starts moving, and PK chases it, not willing to let go of another trunk full of batteries. While Jaga waits for him to come back, she starts listening to the recordings and realizes all the cassettes have her voice recordings, and she also finds the card on which PK had confessed he loves her. Jaga finally finds out PK loves her but sideline himself so she can stay happy with Sarfaraz. As the ship approached, PK never once looked back to hide his tears. Jaga cries as that day she learned the true meaning of love. In the end, Jaga writes a book and names it PK and finishes narrating it at her book launch event, which ends up with applause filling the entire room and her dad cheering the most. 1 year later, PK instructs his fellow aliens on survival tactics on Earth and among people. He teaches them to hide their remotes in their underwear for its safekeeping after he learned his lesson from the last time he was on Earth. They soon land and, with their googly eyes, venture towards the dancing cars to pick some clothes for themselves.